on top of this mountain. You have all the options available. You can choose which trio to bully. You can have your hand at so many elims. This is just two very different sides.
Listen to the action that's happening right now. Storm Surge is causing the rattling of bullets, colliding against metal builds, colliding against brick. And look at this, Stormy Wright gets knocked. That is going to be our first place already in a desperate situation. And look at, there's so many people on this line, Shayo. Zone 5 has been revealed, the half in and half out, and basically 90% of our lobby has to move out.
Yeah, the rich still keep eating, though. They'll have the first choices to move and be very close to the zone. Meanwhile, the poor still fight the poor. Kiriachi too's in the same boxes as others. And yeah, Stormy Wright is just completely down. Tucson defense is going to be against a trio right above him. Looks like it's Splash. Both dealt significant damage to each other. This is going to be really tricky. They have enough to kind of be ahead of Surge, but they've lost a teammate in the process, and they still have to move.
This is what's happening here. It is the game 1 of day 2. Our top 5 are basically affected. 2, 3, and 4 are out of this match already. So that's going to be a prime opportunity for Kiriachi to put some distance on the people that are nipping at his ankles. Elder here, Rotary, taking some shots on the people gliding over as the movement is happening. On the bottom right of the screen, Teak using the triple spray. Did they get the elimination there? Yes, they do on Carmi. This is some great work for Cami State and Teak, who are looking to polish up their performance from day 1 and have a better finish in day 2.
Elder using a gas cannon on the top right. Everyone almost getting in on the mini-map section of your screen. You can see ZQ gets picked apart. Elder, Rotary, Tosi, they're doing big damage to every trio on their lair. It's so scary trying to survive when you're all the way on the ground. As a result, lots of teams trying to move up. This one at the top right, they don't have the same game plan. They're looking to get down. They're looking to just get gritty with everyone else. 16 seconds though to see who actually has the benefit of this zone. If it pulls left, the majority of this lobby will have a little bit of a taste of how it is to be rich. They'll be able to be right on that zone line and keep moving. If it goes towards the right though, we go up another mountain, even the rich might suffer. And the richest right now, the top 1%, it's Refsguard, it's Savage. They're moving already to where the zone pulls. It's right and towards the south. Worst case scenario for the whole server. They're there first. And now Teak, they'll have to get really creative with this next rotation. Their builds are on fire, and they have to place this launch pad very, very meticulously to make sure it does not get blocked.
Yeah, you talked about that adrenaline rotation. When you're up that high, you have the ability to glide over all the chaos that's happening down below. Literally, T, Cammy, and Steady, they had fire at their feet now. Wings is getting elimination on Patrick there, but he gets traded out by Zestin here. Let me take a look. Who has the advantage? We're Steady and Dreaded. We're able to get there. Steady's going to fly over. Savage and Tayson. Looks like Tayson's on the ability underneath all that. Orion's there is too. Steady and Cammy and Teak are going to stick down to the ground. And hey, this trio has been in in-game a lot in day 1 on the low ground.
Yeah, and this entire zone's going to be a roller coaster. We're going up, down on the side of the mountain.
That's what I wanted to see.
Low ground's going to be changing. And yeah, Savage, Dressguard, and Dreaded, they still hold on. Elocrat's going up with a launch pad. Everyone's forced up. The big guy, Hen's trying, but he gets blocked from one side. Now the entire trio's kind of split apart. Is this a teammate or enemy? Not even Hen knows. He's going all the way up. He has to leave him behind. Still moving. The zone's too fast to keep up with. He's taking 50 damage and not even a player. Hen's still going. Those aren't your teammates' builds. You got to go to the left. Keep going left. He still finds Chapix barely holding on to this very fast race, and there's people all around in every single build above him. Usually Hen's shooting him, but he can't actually find the space or the time. They finally get a little bit of a breather. Vino pops off with Tayson in the feed. They're going completely ham.
And this is a nightmare escalator right now. Everyone trying to get up on the mountain as fast as possible. And you have to keep going because it's going back over the mountain. Janice gets a knock. Falconly gets a knock here. But we're watching Hen right now, who is one of the best box fighters. He gets in the back. It's the Asian champion. Gets clapped hard. Hen with the quick flick gets out the Asian FNCS champion with a brutal force. Hen, Chapix here operating together as a duo. And this is going to be a scary rotation. They got to move around this mountain here as Kezix gets taken out by the storm.
Two men just making an impossible puzzle possible. This is crazy. Still not affected, still in builds. Hen's run out on the side of a mountain so high in the sky, and he can't even use the thing in Fortnite that helps you win every scenario. He has to do something here. Sure, right below 175 by Hen. Moves are not enough. Hottie blocks them off, and Dreda, though, he's still on height, surviving, thriving with his entire trio still alive. Teak is right below them. There's a big fight, 1v or 3v3 up there. Rotary's still popping inside the feed. Chapix did survive, but he's by himself now.
I like what Chapix has in inventory as the Chuck Cannon. He could give him a little bit of breathing room as he's navigating these enemy builds, as he's water falling down, as Haijo's on the low ground picking up some eliminations. Kirashi and Toos may have been eliminated from this match here, but Savage, Resguard, and Dreda in 5th place have the ability to move up. As also Clement, Floki, and Deciptos there, a full trio. Cammy, Sen, and Teak have been pushed from second from height and now going down to low ground, but it's this elevation that Savage and Resguard and Dreda that did really well and got a victory out in game 3.
Yeah, now you see them just squeeze the entire lobby, not only with their bullets from up top, but download to the zone. It's bouncing back up the mountain. Chapix finally taken out, and now more will go down. They're all still in the zone, and we're gone. Teak deleted. Kylie's the last one left alive with any just, impressionable HP to make this a clutch moment possible, but it's going to be against 3 different players of high calibers. Refscar's already blocked them off all the way in the front. Where has just gone down to the storm as well. No one is surviving, and the people who had height the whole time get your first victory royale of the day. It's Refsguard and Dreda and Mr. Savage.
And they do that with 7 eliminations as well. We saw them kind of just really do a textbook hold on height. We saw this in game 3 at Stealthy Stronghold, but that's the way you want to start day 2, considering last season, like I mentioned, they kind of took the foot off the gas. We talked about having enough gas to get it to the end. So far, a great hot start for those boys.
Yeah, and for everyone else on the server, just heat at their feet. What a zone to play. That was tough. I want to know exactly who's second, who came 5th, because everyone is down at the same time. Zeke, Levin, Reese, what do you guys have for us?
The first game of day number 2 of the finals, and it goes over to Mr. Savage, Levin. I've never thought I would see this, but here we are.
You can never count them out. You can never count out. They won a game yesterday, and they've started off today incredibly well. And look, that's the kind of game which, as a height team, as much as they won, they'll be a bit frustrated, right? In the sense of when you get height and it's going across such crazy terrain, it's so difficult for you to get as many eliminations as you'd want, right? Typically, if you told me like a team stayed on height for that long, as they did, you'd think, oh, they must have gone, maybe 12 plus eliminations. They must have had a field of a time. They just get so walk around, they can't get as many as they want. Nevertheless, though, a 7 elimination Vic Roy for them at this stage, it's so good. It pushes them up. They were already in 5th or something, right, Reese? Like, they are going to be chilling now, and that confidence boost. Oh, it's a good start.
It's going to be good, and I feel ashamed a little bit. I feel a little bit ashamed because I did my predictions. I didn't even put them top 10 because I thought that contestation, that fight they're having in Steamy Stacks may slow them down too much. But so far, out of the 5 games, they've won 2 of them. So they have absolutely been able to, just perform in the games that they do manage to win off spawn and really apply that to them. So huge congrats to them, and I'm sure for the next 7 games, they're also going to continue to absolutely wow us as the games go on.
And speaking of wow, Reese wanted to point out some things that happened in this last game and how the bus pass can affect Storm Surge in the game itself.
Yes, sir. So we can see this bus path is kind of going from the northwest diagonally down. You can see the way it follows down here. So this creates a lot of difficulty for some of the teams who are in Steamy Stacks, alongside Dirty Dogs, and also at the same time as Retail Row and Catty. And what I mean by difficulty is that a lot of times they're going to be gliding for a lot longer. Now, what that basically means is that there are going to be some teams and some spots on the map who are going to be able to take advantage of this, right? So places like Trippern, who's dropped up here, and also some of these kind of lower dish spots and the Guardian Towers. If we notice now, Trippern, for example, lands on the turret, and you'll not believe the shots he hits here. 40, 40, 40, mustache down, and a dink. So for the fact that Mr. Savage won that, you can thank Trippern in a long, long way for hitting the shots. Now going over to Teak, also landed earlier on the Guardian Tower here. You can see he's got an AR off this. 1 knockdown onto Zebra as well, and a 2nd down onto Side too. So more third party, followed up by more Storm Surge tags. So the fact that the bus pass has determined the way that they're going to be able to land, they're just going to be able to get these tags by landing on these high points, and that's hugely impacted that game.
Yeah, and these are the kinds of things that you almost can't control if you're the player on the receiving end, and you sort of feel a bit hard done by in that sense. But nevertheless, you got to go back into this game and just hope the bus grants you a free pass to land safely. Kiriachi, Sumira, and Tush remain in 1st place. Refsguard and Mr. Savage with that victory out will now sit in second, and they're the first team to get 2 victory royales in a day, which is pretty nice. I'm sure they'll be happy about that one. And Vidil, Noah Riley, and Aqua sit in third with that crazy clutch from Chapix. I call it a crazy clutch, obviously not crazy by his standards, but Hen and Chapix, they clutched up so many points by just simply staying alive in that end game there.
I mean, the movement that they had was, we were watching it in the back, just kind of losing our minds a bit, because the way that Hen and Chapix were able to navigate through those old builds, not managing to fall into any players up until Hen hit a massive max damage 175. That was the first time they managed to run into another team, and they managed to pick up an Elim. Obviously, Hen then got picked up because they had a duo with them at the same time, but they managed to get that elimination. Then Chapix got them up till 5th as a solo as well. So I think they started that move, and I think there were still, 17 teams alive, and they managed to do that all the way up until top 5. That is the kind of clutches that you need to be having if you're going to be placing in the top 5 in the FNCS.
Yeah, let's take a look at that next page though, 11th to 20th, because of course a lot of these teams are still going to be vying, looking for an opportunity. You can see Chips' trio, they've dropped down in the standings a bit. They were one of the teams to go down a bit earlier last game. We talked about, we talked about how impressive they were yesterday in the back end. We talked about how they can't afford to start off slow, and this is the slow start we were talking about. They're not out of it yet, but definitely a bit of a reality check, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's punishing, because you've got to remember, they were 4th and in a single game have dropped down 8 placement points. And that really just shows how close this top 10 is. That, we've mentioned a lot of times at the top of the show, don't count any of these teams out who are 10th down till that 20th right now. And this proves why. One game can change the swing of things so much. You move huge swings where Chips down all the way 8 places. We see obviously Refsguard going from 5th till 2nd now. Hen was 7th, and now they're in 4th from that too. The leaderboard is all going to shake up over the next 7 games.
I'll be real, I still can't get over Hen. When Hen hit that first one in the cracks, I was thinking, fam, he better not hit that other shot. I was thinking it's about to get mad. If you're in the green room, I was about to go crazy, but I was humbled rather quickly, unfortunately. So.
Absolutely insane. We're about to get ready to jump back into more action here from the FNCS in EU. So Fortnite fam, make sure you guys keep up with all the action. Don't forget, watch.fortnite.com, a great place to watch. Party Royale, continue using those emotes, fam. And for now, we're going to send it back over to Sancho West and Shywager to take us into the next game.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Hen might have humbled 11 a little bit, but Sancho, I still feel like there's so much hype to go around in EU right now. That win from Refsguard, I mean, it was there. Savage, Andretta there too. It's not enough to put them in first place. Kiriachi's just kind of holding on way too strong.
Yeah, what really worked out for Andretta's trio is that all those things that we broke down in the desk as well, that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th went down really early in there, and that gave them that opportunity. But this is where it matters. And Andretta, oh no, he takes a big shot with Mustache. That it's a trade that we're going to see how it unfolds, but that's a very scary. This is what I'm talking about, man. Every time when you're contested, it's not guaranteed. No way you're going to have to work for every single point and every single right to be an here so far, because Malabuka gets him eliminated, but Savage today gets synced as well. This is not the momentum you want in, but what a great response from Savage.
What a shot. That might just turn the tides of the whole fight. 72 straight over, almost the dome of the man up top. Shizo trying to contest him on positioning. Now they might have a little bit of breathing room to make this 2v3 possible. At the same time, the clock is ticking on Savage and Andretta. The longer they wait, the more time Shizo has to loot, get some heals, the more time Alabuka has and Mustache to get better loot. So he's gonna go straight on the chase, run all the way to Mustache, just trying to get all the way high in the sky. Might be a possibility for him to affect him there, but it's a trap. Savage, he thought he was already flying.
The Clay effect is real. It happened in day 1, and it's gonna happen here in day 2. When you win a victory royale, you go down early here, so it's all up to Andretta. Nope. Clay done it again.
This is just tough for a team that's contesting the whole time. So impressive that they're 2nd overall. So similar to what Hen, Janice, Chapix were doing last season. I mean, the thing is though, being all the way towards the top, being this impressive overall cumulatively, how long is it going to last? Because the more games that happen, the more chance you have, 2 games going to back-to-back, completely knocked off on spawn. That might not be the best thing in the world for a team so far in the lead.
Hey, at the same time, we have 8 games here. So, you know, that's going to be an additional 2 bonus games, which has never been done before in the FNCS. The last time we had this bonus game was in Season 4 when we had an extra game there. Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson at that time, they had a huge lead, but then they just started just dying off the rip there. You going to the 50-50 for that start chest. So when they kept this getting eliminated off the rip, so to speak, eventually, you know, they were able to hold on. And that's the thing that's going to come in, what's going to happen with these bonus games.
We'll see if they can survive that 8-game marathon. Stompy, a little bit of nerves in the mix, a little bit of miscommunication, trying to go for that edit, but it's all good. This Lazy Lake fight will be here for 12 out of 12 games. So impressive for them too, holding on to the lead earlier on in day 1. Now they're kind of falling down the board. Started off, I think, on around 2nd, 3rd place overall, all the way down to 6th now. So they're going to be looking to maybe try to climb back. That means, though, they have to win this fight over and over. I mean, all these teams, Sancho, they're all going to be fighting. They might have 1 game online, 1 game offline. Kiriachi is uncontested off spawn. They're going to keep moving forward, staying first. They had a 2-point difference in their lead starting the day off. And after that last game, it's extended to a 10-point lead. If no one here ends up really owning their job spot, I feel like Kiriachi can just run away with this. And I know it's really early. We still got 7 more games to play, but I'm just looking into the future right now.
And right now, Pink's future is not looking hot at all. We talked about that slide, and the slide is happening right now, and they kind of vented their frustrations on social media about ZQ making a move right over here. But if you're in ZQ's boots, you have to understand, man, you were getting bullied out of Holly Hatchery. I mean, Void's trio was just on one yesterday, and so you don't want to deal with that anymore. So you take your chances. You find out that literally all it takes is one win off a drop. You're like, okay, I'm going back there again. And that's what happened. That's what is so dangerous there. You know, as soon as you kind of give up your spot, you rotate. The same thing with Malbuka. He lost one. He explored different options. I know one time went to caddy corner because that was vacant, so to speak. And that's why Savage is, has the momentum. That's the thing when it comes down to these drop spots mentality.
It's all different game to game. It's all different, honestly, when it comes season to season as well as to who's qualifying and where they go entirely. New team, though, entering Lazy Lake as one leaves, it looks like. Oh, never mind. It's still going to be Voxy on the left side, but they're getting slightly more aggressive before looting, now focusing. And Shadow's also getting focused in this fight that lasted a long time. Red Rush is jumping the gun fast, looking for Joe next. The pinch is coming through with Exteriors on the side. Benji's Trio's in trouble.
Benji's in trouble right now without Shadows here. Benji and Joe are going to work together, and there's pressure coming from all different sides in the moment here. With the green tack, I know Benji does not want that in his inventory. He wishes he had a pump at his side here so he could just get that maximum damage with a quick edit. Asterios here putting pressure on Joe. As you're seeing Hen drive by in the distance here. Who knows if they might want a piece of this action here. Mappy, Asterios putting more pressure on Benji and Joe. Benji and Joe are going to retreat back into the box here, and that might be just enough, but no, Asterios is still here. Red Rush is now going to provide a different angle, so that scrum is happening. And meanwhile, Ingram coming down from the Central Mountains is going to go into Lazy Lake. There's about 3 now trios here in this fight.
So much more action, so many different angles from everyone here looking to have another big game. This might be one of those games where both trios make it off spawn, and that could really change up the leaderboards. Benji could also clutch, and that could really save his team for the boards, but at 45 HP, it's not looking like, the biggest possibility.
Let me see here. Game notes for game 6. Fan favorites fall early. That is what's happening. Savage went down, and Benji goes down. Red Rush, an old school name from the past, the FNCS squads champion here, and now Benji's gonna have to move on out. And man, I just feel bad here. I mean, when you're in the corn in the FNCS finals, things gone wrong. Things gone wrong.
Yeah, you got the lo-fi playing in the background. It's raining outside. Yep. I know the vibes. It's tough.
Feels bad, man.
Oh. Pink, though, I think these guys are finally happy and lazy. They're really bunkering down. Similar to we saw in game 1 when Queasy was kind of jumping on the Savage and they just boxed up in metal. These guys are fully turtling defense mode, not even editing. They're just focused on living. And that's what they need to do, Sancho. Look at the zone. Yes. You love talking about this too, right? Lazy Lake. That's home right now in this zone. Like, it's literally central. You can control so much. You can go anywhere you want, north, south, east, west. If they just live off spawn here, they can have a glorious game to come back.
I'm thinking of the Hellfires, those trios, you know, when they find success in lazy, like they bunker down when things get crazy, and they let the third party help them out here. Now, there's not going to be no third parties out here. This is going to be a battle between Art Skills and Andalix's trio, and we're trying to see Andalix kind of come back into form here, and they always make these day 2 adjustments where they get a little bit more aggressive. Last time, Art Skill, which is having free reign on these coastal rotates, but Andalix and X-Squeeze and 4ZR going to put a stop to that mess. But, wait a minute. I said there's going to be no third party. Wait a minute. Why are Kylie? They're here. This is around their area, Camp Cod, and they heard the ruckus, and they made the rotate on the beach.
There's no way this is word of mouth. This has to be some sort of advertising on the South POIs that there's this big fight going on. Boobox flying into from another side. I'm not sure what this is, but a fight at the edge of the earth of sorts.
Do you remember last season where like someone was padding into Camp Cod? Like, who padded to Camp Cod?
I mean, things get crazy when the zone's even remotely near the south, and these guys are going to be storm fighting off the island. There's no land to hold on to. Aware Boobak Kylie really going for these elims, really going for, I guess, even, you know, a statement that we kind of own this entire spot of the zone, but isn't it cost them so much?
So much invested, but right now the greatest investment right now is that cannon, so they can kind of stick around here a little bit longer. Now they're going to go ahead and disengage and maybe kind of rotate up to the natural terrain here and wait patiently. So 4ZR is squeezed here, even though they try to get some Storm Surge, maybe get some easy eliminations, are now in trouble. This is just so shocking. No one's supposed to be here.
They came in and they were like, hey, what's going on? Okay, whatever, it's fine. The worst referees I've ever seen in a match of boxing between two different teams. I'm not sure.
No. It wasn't a boxing. That's a pro wrestling referee getting involved. They threw in that metal chair and left. And now we're seeing another fight out here.
What is going on?
Siberia and Force are fighting on the edge of the earth again. This is 7 towards Force normal rotation. I don't know why T, Cammy, and Seti are down here. Maybe they got pushed out there. And sometimes, like myself, I don't want to go to the beach when the missus tells me we're going to the beach. I want to stay indoors. And that's what happens. Cammy, Seti, and Teak, they get pushed out to the ocean. And they made, oh my goodness. I am in shock. How did that happen? The FNCS Asian champion alongside with Siberian 7-Tor. 7-Tor on social media, you know, tweeted out an anime gif, and that man's serious today. I saw it, I was like, oh, I think it was from a famous series that involved the name Notes, and I was like, okay, this guy's serious today. He's the Elim Notes anime coming soon to Fortnite.
Nah, just look at it this way, right? After all the fights we've seen so far, might have to rebrand from the FNCS to the BPF, the Fortnite private beach fights overall, because that's all we're watching over and over again from this early game. Look at the center of the map where Chapik, Janice, kind of rotating. There's no one here. Everyone's already moved towards these southern mountains. EU's experienced with how chaotic this zone gets. Maybe that's why everyone's kind of, you know, at the edge of the earth, looking to kind of climb all the way atop these really high points of elevation overall. Pen kind of stopped in his tracks. The taxis kind of run out of the fair right there. Unfortunate. And wow, there's literally no one here. Everyone's on that south side.
And more people are, you know, where they are. They're here on this coastline, Retail Row. I've been seeing this in the entire day one. The dead side rotations have been popping off all the time, and everyone's just colliding on it. They're trying to 200 IQ their rotate, and then all of a sudden you're just running into this mess of a fight here. Sai, who's been in Retail Row fighting this entire FNCS, is now dealing with a new kind of fighter, and his default coming from Dirty Docks.
I'm dubbing this a sandpaper game of season 7. It's just so rough all around. Every single POI. I mean, Retail Row still fighting. Rotations free and then abruptly stopped. People off the cliffs on the side of the island. Default going down in a mannerism we've never seen. This is the guy who cleans things up. Miknub about to win this fight with Sai, 2v3 style.
That was great between Sai and his duo mate. They were able to kind of collapse on that, knowing that they're about to be flanked, but it was just a matter of time before the numbers game catches up to them. Minking Up was trying to hold on here with only 4 points to start today. Nice. Wow. That's a pretty way. That's pretty good. Even the odds a little bit. The numbers a little bit better. Now it's a 1v1. They're doing really well with Surge, but if they can win this engagement, the reboot van is right there. You got to remember, there's still people out there on the beach fighting it out. Patrick here is going to get the reboot van here. and
Oh,
go
I
for
understand.
the. That's a nice play. Now the numbers are back in the favor of Patrick and Co.
Yeah, you got default back. It's like, yeah, you can have Safik. That's all good. We'll bring in default once again, the closer of the fights at retail. Honestly, the closer of a bunch of Fortnite games too. Going down early might have just been a tech from the CL-centric team, and now McNup has a much bigger plate to deal with.
Imagine if you had the ability to choose who you want to bring back. That'd be kind of cool.
Man.
That'd be kind of cool. I would never be brought back. I would always be in the reboot van.
Just have to go there, never really get a card. Food for thought for future seasons, but right now, we're inside some real metal, tough situations. Fast Roki low ground again, Void Karma. Looks like they survived a plane crash or something, like shield kind of low, HP also down, a position that's just really bad. And Fast Roki as well, he's getting bullied down to 8 HP, has to get into his flopper reservoir. You don't usually see that, safe for endgame. And
bandies as well.
Striking 187 damage below the threshold for Storm Surge. That pump might not even be enough. It's 212. They have to get an entire Elim and finish it. Fast Roki's going down to Lightning. Karma's gonna be next. Now Tayson's gonna be the one that's even faster than that element. I mean, just insane. A second game in a row that Fast Roki can't deal with Surge.
Hey, now Tayson has to deal with this flecking push, but these are the engagements I think that need to bring Vino, Reason, and Tayson back into the running. Right now, they're not doing so hot. They're about in the middle of the board. They're in 11th place going into this match here. But when you've been struggling that entire time with Storm Surge and dealing with so many people rotating in at Analyx with this rotation from coming from the coast coming over here, and now we're seeing the rest of this fight here. Yeah, two pads go down. Builds are getting blasted out. Do you have a? He does have another one. I would love to see
number
third.
3.
I would have just throw a pad in the box. Let's see what happens. You never know. Maybe they blast you out there. But Patrick and Default clean up that fight. Here, question is, yes, they bring back Safik as well. So now they're going to be back into it. They're going to have to get all the resources, get back to full strength. They fight out a retail row. And Tayson, Reason, and Vino, they're getting bullied. Flecken kind of pushes them down, but it looks like they're trying to value positioning at this moment, satisfied with that Storm Surge fight that they had there with Fast Roki's trio. But it's still, man, I really think they got to trust in their box fighting, get in there. I understand they're going for position, they'll early rotate, but you got to catch up here with some elims.
Many teams are just kind of employing these tactics, though. They're baiting teams like Tayson, Vino, Reason into doing what you're saying, right? Going for those fights. Third party, roll straight through. If they fought Flecken right there, 4-0 would have been literally there in 5 seconds to clean up after that fight, right? So they have to be very careful. It is their strength, you're right, but they have to play away from their strengths. It's going to be very difficult for Tayson to stay ahead of the game, look towards end games, look towards consistency. They've got what it takes. It'll just, there'll be a lot of temptation to resist.
This is game 6 right now. Second place already gone. We're on board here with first place of Stormy Wright, Kiriachi, and Toos, who their strength has just been, like I mentioned, the word is consistency. They've just been around, been in the top of the end game. They don't go for height. If they're at height, if they get contested, they lose, they drop down quickly. They don't try to expand, they don't try to crank or build fight. They're very intelligent when it comes to in game, and I just feel like really this is just, maybe it might be the masterpiece, the renaissance for Kiriachi, man, and Stormy Wright and Toos. This Russian trio has always been in the running. They've been like a mid-card trio, but now they might be stepping up for that heavyweight fight and being the main marquee trio for the EU region.
I mean, they're definitely extending their lead, first place by 10 points right now. Not separating their position, though, from everyone else. Everyone is kind of tied towards this left side near caddy corner. They have a crescent moon of trios just waiting for the sun to rise, going towards the next portion of the zone. Look at Egram not being aggressive, not even looking for shots. How uncharacteristic is that? Sean VP, the one being bullied and not surviving the clutch. Things are changing now towards these back half of games. Amplify 80 and Matzo, they're activated.
Oh, man.
Move with, Andy before, and both teams survived. This time, one did not. So people are definitely employing different strategies to get out of these positions. At the same time, everyone's kind of just stuck side by side.
Very stuck here because of these kind of positions that everyone's kind of jockeying for on these mountaintops, and the zone is pushing off where Matzo is, and look at this, everybody's on the left side. Again, there's something about the left, but everyone's got to pick up their left foot and slide to the right for this moment here. Squeeze and FNC and Alex, who've been wounded throughout the entire time, you got some sand under their toes, and you know, once you go to the beach and you don't take a shower, you got sand in all these weird crevices, and as Squeeze and FNC, they're going to be irritated as they're making their way through here. But hey, they got a really strong position, but I'm just concerned the resources have been dipped into, the heals have been dipped into, and now as Squeeze has been double dipped and eliminated, FNC and Alex have to roll as a duo.
This is so tricky, especially with this zone. We're going to Shipwreck Cove. I mean, I haven't seen a zone like this since last season's game number 1. It gets crazy. Anything can happen. And these guys have to move free on an entire mountain. Is there a person to snipe there? Yes. Endless doesn't even see his speed. He's not even considering it. He's going for revenge on the Eliminator. He's moving out in the open. Everyone's spaced up side by side, skiing down this mountain. This is crazy. Finally catches up to FNC. How is that possible?
Man, it is that extreme sports lifestyle. You're going to the beach and you're surfing, and now you're back up to the mountaintops and you're skiing and snowboarding, and sometimes that little snowball, it kind of careens down into avalanche. 4 HP does get elimination there. He's gonna have to hold on. FNC and Alex, a very historic duo here, is still on their feet in the snow. Zone 5 is gonna be revealed, Shy.
Okay, and it is going to be an avalanche that's going to come through. All these trios have to move off from one side of the mountain. It might be like an anti-gravity avalanche to go all the way to the other side of the mountain too. So
they can't do this.
And then that's a rise again, the trickiest zone in Fortnite's history. I feel like this is going to be crazy for people to move across.
All it takes is a couple of beams and Alex is gone. Queasy is still in this fight, gets an elimination from the Red Rush, but we're watching right here. This is one of the most decorated EU teams in the region. This French trio who made the French shift. They changed it up. They were able to qualify with new teammates, newly formed. And look at this. In about a minute, we will see if they were able to survive. As you mentioned, one of the most dangerous, treacherous rotations we may ever see. Here we go.
I saw Sapphic just make a very sneaky push from the bottom. They're electing to go to the base of the mountain. Alex, though, he's moving all the way up on the top right of your screen. 4 HP, can't make a single mistake. Half-pad up in the air. 3 AR shots will take him out, but no one's looking. Everyone has to be focusing on this position. It's such a tricky zone. Finally, some pressure comes in, but they stabilize. Meanwhile, down towards the dirt, Exterior Snappy Red Rush, they don't want to take to the skies. They got their own plans to stay ahead and alive.
But what is such a risky position to be down there? Look at that, even Boopback is way down there. Boopback is beyond the dirt. He's 6 feet under. He may find himself and dig himself into the lobby at that point. Falconly and ZQ Kazakh, oh my goodness, what happened? An earthquake happens and brings down everything, and it was an edit down chop. Kazakh survives though. He survives the natural disaster that just unfolded there, and Queasy may have been the culprit of that edit down chop.
Oh my God, I've never seen Kazakhs panic that hard.
Dude, I panicked.
Down, but walls and floors everywhere. We're panicking too. They're back up the height though. That cost them a lot. Kazakhs,
it did.
171 mats now, and it's only what?
Oh my goodness. It's coming down to it. This is one of those chaotic in games that we always love to see and love to cast, but no one loves to play because it's going to get messy. Here we are. Deceptos Loki's commit there on the low ground, but not really. They're heading down now. Hey, Tayson, Vino, and Reason. They're in the mid ground. Punch ups right there on their door. And look, Save It. Save It is alive here. Save It is going to try to find his way back to glory. And meanwhile, our defending FNC champions are second from height.
Everyone on every single layer has to be very careful. We're going back up, straight over the mountain, across flat land, but the zone could pull back at any moment. You have to be very careful with how many materials you use, which pads you're putting down, what your whole game plan is, and while you're trying to concentrate, anyone can break into your box, cause a lot of pressure, chaos in your mind. You might not think, you waste even a second, you might slip, fall off of this crazy zone and mountain, straight down to your demise. There's a big shot from Save It, cannot keep it contained. Right there, a second of distraction, invasion in the box. He's gone, he's out.
And what I noticed in day one is Jerky, Queasy, and Trulix, that they cleaned up a couple of things. They would be able to hold on to high. They had high multiple times here on the first moving zones, but then they lost it to these corporates right here. But it's not going to happen here because Aqua is in shambles, and now he's going to do all that he can to get those placement points.
Yeah, even the high ground warlords are suffering with this zone. Aqua as a solo trying to make things happen. Missed shot on the walk-up, but he got a big finish on the splash. 100 damage, 33 on the elo cracks. He's still getting points, even if he's not working height or in the circle. The zone is still so far away. Bullied, held back in boxes. He gets in. He's living. He's alive.
Aqua with the two-piece right here. The GOAT is still alive on his feet, still rocking it now. He's on a layer. He almost caught another body, but he just whiffs the shot. He's here to fight, and he's out of build and out of this match.
Reason, though, he's fighting with Taste. Down there below, it's just a mess. Tripper and the last one left, he gets taken out. He's gone, and now Exterios and Mappy as a duo still control everything going down below. The lobby is gonna get squeezed up. There's another hill, a mountain in the way. Kylie once again is another player surviving from that last game here to this one. The same patterns navigating the zone. Look at everyone else though, they're trapped. They have to get by not only the entire server but the space as well. Reason deleted, Trulix, Jerky, Queasy, they're bringing that FNCS champion vibe right back this season.
They're rocking that Axe of Champions in their spirit and in their minds here. They're trying to defend the crown. But Pink Nebs, who's had a great day one here, are trying to regain their footing here in day two on the front side of the zone. It's champion versus champion, Asian versus EU, and EU claps out with it, trying to regain it. It's another Axe of Champion running around as well. We have 4 Axe of Champions, but here it is, Trulix, Jerky, and Queasy here, finally finding their form here in day 2, going up against the contender from day 1. Nebs, Pink, and Stompy working as a duo.
It'll be the 4th mountain there on a possibility of a res all the way down below, but the timing might not be there. They're sticking it. Nebs is going for it. Chuck splash in and to keep his HP from the zone alive. Is he up? He's up. Now it's a 3v3, but there's no Master Stompy. He used them all to actually defend.
What?
Easy. Big shots taken on height. The slide pump lands again. The retake. It's coming through with Stompy.
No,
Another on the Queasy. No way.
No.
They're doing it.
No way. No way. No way.
Stompy
No way.
in.
No way. No way.
Wins out the game.
Oh.
Single-handedly getting all 3 players, Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, do the impossible.
No way! No way! I have no words, bro. No words. No words, child.
I don't even want to attempt to think about anything else. Sneak, please, take it away.
I thought that I've seen it all. I thought that this was just going to be another normal day of Fortnite. I thought this was going to be the normal finals. Apparently, everyone decided they were going to go absolutely hamburgers for no reason. Stompy, this was the craziest clutch of all time. What are you doing, brother? Oh my gosh, the composure needed to pull something off like that. The comeback from recovery, the moment to even pick your teammate up. I mean, oh my goodness, dude. This was next level, bro.
Oh my god. Look, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky, it's an absolute travesty. It is absolutely shocking. You know, you can, there's so many words you can use. Stinker, howler, nightmare. It's everything that could possibly go wrong and worse. Like, you don't lose that. Like, we know Stompy's great. He's one of the all-time greats of EU. You know, back in the World Cup days, he was dominating the land. But he just whipped out his old form right there. That was not even real. That shouldn't have happened, right? If you don't know what just happened, that shouldn't have happened. Nobody should win that if you're in Stompy's position. You shouldn't.
Yeah, but he did, and he hit the shots. He's showing why. Throughout the World Cup qualifiers, he was the most dominant player. Throughout Season 8, he became the champion. Zeke's still lost in the sauce. He still can't believe it as we say that. And you know, a lot of people throughout a lot of the previous FNCSs have not put the respect on Stompy's name. But Stompy, alongside Nebs, to pick up the res onto Pink, like, huge big brain play, because that also saved one bullet, right? That hit the shot from, I think it was Queasy, to knock down, which allowed Stompy to be able to win it. Huge, incredible play.
Oh my gosh, these teams, they know what's at stake, man. They want the Axe of Champions. They want to win it all. Oh my goodness. We got to talk about some other stuff with Malibuca happening here earlier on in the game. I'm still shaking. Take it away, Love. Take it away.
Look, I just wanted to show people the duality of Fortnite, right? Because, you know, we take a look at the game before this when Mr. Savage, you know, they have that amazing win. Everything's going rosy. You think to yourself, oh, wow, they contested that steamy, but it's still going great. They've now won 2 games out of 5. Everything's absolutely amazing. But then you get them coming in, landing at steamy the game after, you know, on this massive high, and they get walked through. Malibuca takes out Ref's guard. No real hope there. And Reese, this is one of the big problems that, you know, these teams will have while contested. We talked about the Asian winners who, you know, won FNCS, contested 10 out of 10 times, or 10 out of 12 times, sorry. You know, Mr. Savage and them, they're not going to be able to do this, like, every game. At some point, you just have to think it's not worth it anymore.
No, I know you got to think so, but there's no other options. Reality, where else are they going to go? Anywhere else they go, they're contested at the same drop, so they might as well keep going where they're being successful. They were in second, and now they've dropped down till 7th for Falcon, Refsguard, along with Andrea and Mr. Savage 2 now. So that's 5 placements down just by losing off spawn, which is tough. But with the huge clutch, with the huge victory royale from Pink, Nebs, and Stompy, that's pushed them all the way up into 1st place currently. 2 victory rounds to their name, and I want to watch more. I have to see more from this team.
Honestly, I did not come into this weekend expecting to see what we've seen from these 3 players. That clutch from Stompy is going to go down in the history books. That is absolutely unreal. And like you say, Reese, I'm so eager to see now. You know, they've clearly got the hot hand, and everything they do, they're doing so many things right. And it's not perfect, right? It's not perfection. There are mistakes being made here and there, but they just have that sort of rhythm and flow right now where they are able to just account for any mistake. And you have Stompy, you know, hitting 1v3s. Like, you can't bank on that. You can't guarantee that every game. But boy, that is just absolutely nuts. You can see the players here now from 11 to 20. They'll all be watching that thinking, well, look, if they're going to be playing like that, we ain't got a chance. How are we supposed to stop him? You know, if we're going to get into 3v1s and he's still going to win, what are we supposed to do about that? Nevertheless, there are so many games left, but wow, what a performance.
Yeah, and I think a notable thing to add there is that Queasy's team is now in 18th place after that. That looked like a game, like you mentioned, let's be real. They should have won that. They should have picked up the victory royale in the final game, but they ended up second. That would have been 2 additional eliminations to 4 points and another 5 points. So that would have another 9 points to them, which would have put them up, I think, what, 6 slots up in the leaderboard alone. So that choke from them could be disastrous for the rest of the leaderboard. They seem to be playing absolutely on form today, but that final little closing out the game, but you know.
That's just the confidence, just absolutely destroyer, you know, and they'll be arguing, you know, we
sure.
you get frustrated at your teammates sometimes, right? You know, they will be so frustrated with each other at how they've allowed that to happen, and hopefully it doesn't completely offset their mental going forward, because there are 6 games or so left, right? There's so many games that you can't afford to sort of switch off now, but I don't know how they recover from that one. If me and Reese happened and you were the one that allowed, you know, Stompy to clutch like that, I'm removing you as a friend. We're not playing again.
Blocked on Twitter, don't worry.
Yeah, you're finished, you're done, you know, so.
Well, guys, you heard the bus, which means we have to go back in the game. I still have to recover from that. Remember, we've got another 6 games ahead of us because we began with Ace, so buckle up. We have more action like this up ahead of us. Sancho, Shayo, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, and we're trying to recover myself. I mean, trying to check my heart rate here. We're about to get into the throes of Game 7. Shayo, talk about a highlight show that FNCS has put on here for Day 2.
I'm trying to recover, you know, brain-wise. I don't remember any of the other games at all, except for that one. The clutch from Stompy. And remember what they did off spawn, Sancho. They defended, they waited, they stayed alive. They have to again. We cannot miss this team in another endgame.
They got a bunker down here. You cannot follow up with your greatest hits of all time. That just don't bop anymore. Kha'Zix gets bopped, and Falconly now is gonna get a trade right there. But nice Stompy baiting that out there, letting the teammate kind of take the brunt of that force here, and that just may be enough. Oh, nicely done. Wow, Stompy, okay, you're on one now, man. I looked on Twitter just to say, oh, he's on one. They took that. Remember they got pickaxe? You remember that's how we started this broadcast? They got pickaxe, and all of a sudden they're on this new form, reaching new heights. Savage, Revsguard, they're gonna win this Steamy Stocks engagement. But man, my brain is like fried. It's frozen in time. He's frozen in time.
Everyone's back now. Savage winning his fight. Stompy actually going for the aggressive play and winning. The confidence is here. No one's actually, you know, trying to do these weird trades, stay back a little bit, play for info. They're really capitalizing on any opening that they can. Micnup also getting clicked or, you know, completely just clipped. Akumu looks like all the way at Retail Row as well. Benji winning against Exterios. All the patterns we were watching yesterday from the fan favorite teams, the matchups that, you know, a few analysts were predicting would go a certain way, they are going that way now. I mean, it looks like the entire server's back on form.
Yeah, back in the form. I agree with you on that. You know, day one, this is what was happening. And it just shows you right there. I mean, Queasy, I think Queasy, like I mentioned in day one, the pattern that we were talking about from them, Shay, as you mentioned that, is that they were still in game. They were there taking height. That zone was really difficult. They had it. And normally, I would say 90% of the time, maybe 99% of the time, you don't lose that kind of advantage when you have height, and considering that the low ground was plumb out of mats here. Now Mappy's in trouble here. He's going to feel the pressure from the rest of Joe, Shadow, and Benji. And now we're going back to Force and Siberia Savitor, who have turned around their fortunes here in day two. But it looks like this is not going to be very fortunate here outside of Retail Row.
Trixie, Jaggy, they love to just find teams on rotation or just finishing fights, dive in, and pick them up, clean them up. That was their style on day one. We've kind of missed it, or they've been stopped multiple times, swatted like flies. On day number two, looks like this time gonna pack a little bit more of a sting all throughout for Force. His shot club splash charges are completely down. Jaggy tends, they might just back off here. They might just want to go for the damage totally. And yeah, that's a lot, about 300 to 400 damage across all three players from there. Very good from Trixie, a nice push. They'll back the whole way away.
It makes me laugh because all you hear is just the car going, and they're just out, right? They just came on through, did what they had to do, and they're rolling out. And Red Rush is rolling out, and it's going to be one of those games. Red Rush, you just got to do what you can. Hold. He does have Mysterios' card, and that's what I learned in NA West. When you have that black bar right there, that means you do have a card there to go. So he has one of those cards so far, and now we're taking a look at Kirachi, which it feels like people will remember Stompy's play the most, but Kirachi right here, it's going to be one thing, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm finally seeing it. Savid was skirting by in day one, no problem. We're living fine. Now,
big drop. Urge damage all the way off of spawn. So yeah, Rifle Savid so they're getting kind of bullied too. So the big edits, blocks one shot, edits, hits another. Huge. The speed from there is insane. And boom, that's it. Not a single person getting fully eliminated. Yeah, Tooth got knocked at the very end, but a very good bait for Stormy and Kiriachi to make that pinch possible.
And if I saw that on VODs, Kirachi definitely saw that as well. Every time you see it, you look at that battle map, you're seeing their tracking, you instantly see that David constantly goes all the way down to that dish, rotates through Shantytown, and it's just uninhibited, just easy free. Now he has to pay the toll, and that toll ultimately cost him here in Game 7.
I must have a few, but there's so many more games to go throughout this day. Benji, Joe, Shadow, they're going to be alive off spawn for now. Mid game is their kind of tricky spot, getting out of Pony Complex, outside the POI, and moving on towards the end game. That was tough. Stompy though, yeah. All the way from Season X to now, man is no stranger to winnings. 8 different games he's won in EU. He holds that record, rightfully so too. I mean, if you've seen the style of play, the zones that he's very good at, and are these mountain zones, like that was very reminiscent of the clutches he had with Chinkin and Aqua all the way back in Season X and previous seasons as well. And he's only on a 2 for the day now. I think Savage's trio is the only one with that 2, and they're in first place off of that game too. So that's just absolutely phenomenal.
People are forgetting that Chapter 1 map had huge mountains. There was a lot of them everywhere. Pleasant Park had like a whole ring of mountains. You're going down towards Tilted Towers, they had their own little ring of mountains. You go to Salty Springs, they had that huge mountain. And then just a little bit dead in the middle, dead center, they have another mountain right there. I could go on and on forever. I mean, we're talking about the glory days. You remember those broken houses right then and there, like south of Loot Lake? That was another huge mountain that Chapter 1 had. But yes, Aqua and Stompy and Chinkin, like you mentioned from Season X, are the champions, but there's so many champions in this lobby, man. So many.
It's been a while, right? Everyone's kind of had their shot at the throne. Some people have called it home for longer. Some are still defending it to this day or trying to even take it back from just a few seasons ago. Lots looking for a double up for second run at the title.
I was going to say here, I'm taking a look as we're getting a taste of the first zone. We're seeing Benji. They were able to confirm Joe. They eliminated Joe. And I'm sorry. Red Rush got confirmed by Joe. There.
Okay, I was wondering.
I told you,
that team.
my brain is still frozen by Stompy. So also as well as Falconly, his trio has been eliminated. Malibu has been eliminated. Sai has been eliminated. And then you have Karmi has been eliminated. And Wings and Karmi, day one, they were doing really good, man. I love their aggression into Pleasant Park. They were pushing Coral Castle, but so far their day two, not so great considering that they're now sliding out of the top 10.
Yeah, you're talking about, the difference from day 1 and 2. Look at the trios on board right now. Fast Roki, Void, and Karma also had trouble on this day compared to the first. They're going with different tactics now. It's being quiet, looking for a shot here against Toos, a trio that's really good at affecting many later on in the game. If they take out these guys right here, if they even have a little bit of damage to interrupt their loop path, it'll be trouble. But Toos senses something.
Yeah, he
heard
did.
a footstep.
I heard something.
The awareness is just there. Kriachi will come up and see if he's okay. He'll base up a little bit, and now they hear Void. Void hears the Bills, understands that they're playing a little bit of defense. They might just force this fight.
It basically heard like a branch, like a stick break. Just like that. It's like now it's on high alert, and they're going to go ahead and build up the space and bunker down here. And I think, yeah, you don't want a piece of that. You just know that's going to be one of those fights, drawn out. Hey man, sometimes fast food is not good for your diet. I just gotta let you know. I gotta let you know that dirt burger ain't worth it. And as juicy as it is, it ain't worth it.
Now Fast Roki just looking somewhere else now. No, it's a lesson in ability. One of the rules is that you have to be careful not to make a sound. And if a branch does snap, who knows, you fall down in a pitfall, you get in a little bit of trouble. That's just what happens there to them. It just feels like Fast Roki's always looking to be the counter to a different trio or to play, in the shadows of someone else's power. It's not really finding that type of success today. Same thing with Hydro Zest and Backfeet. Always looking to cause a little bit of ruckus, but not be the main target for a lot of fights. And since everyone is playing so passive, so separated right now at this portion of the game, they're having a little bit of trouble also getting elims. When we were watching in day number 1, they had 1 or 2 where they were really influencing, people behind the scenes. They kind of seem like the hidden overlords of the mid game. Right now, they're just kind of a lot quieter.
Definitely, they were puppet mastering everybody right there. It's like, there's regulators in this world and there's instigators, and definitely they are instigators. And you see that retreat from Fast Roki there. They go right into another trio, and that's Toasty out there in Weeping Woods. So, hey, they didn't get a dirt burger there, but they do get to eat. And they get that maximum storm surge with that sniper shot. And Fast Roki is going to get credit for that elimination there. But as you're seeing, 6 trios are already out of this match here. And it's just so interesting. I feel like that previous game kind of felt like a throwaway game. It kind of, there's a lot of weird things that was happening because we have the extra 2 games to work with. And I felt like a lot of people were trying new things. And so it's interesting to see where people go after this. Again, never historically done before. 8 games in day 2.
I feel like that game was more so less throwaway, a little bit more PTSD, forcing people to try things. As soon as you see a potential for a mountain zone, you want to get ahead of it, right? You want to be there as fast as possible. That's why the map seemed a little bit empty, and yeah, a lot of top teams fell off spawn. Void actually ends up going down here. Karma, Fast Roki in trouble. We'll come back to that in just a sec, because these elims for default Sapphic Futric, they could be huge.
Absolutely huge, not only for their leaderboards, but for this match as well. Look at that, very aggressive rotation coming all the way from Dirty Docks. They're picking up the pace. I talked about their woes in the semifinals, and they seem to get them better in day 1, and now they're getting really solid here in day 2. You're gonna be able to try to pick up the pieces when it comes to Karma and Fast Roki.
I'll go back to talking about, though, the differences from last game and how trios are playing and now. I feel like, going towards the left side compared to the mountains, everyone kind of has that normal game plan. The feels of what to do, everyone kind of has a little bit of space on both sides of the Venn diagram for this zone on how to play.
I think it's what those mountains are very tempting. You know, you aggro those mountains, those placements. You understand that once it goes around the mountains and up and over, you got to go all the way to height as the Swedes gets a knock against Rotary. And I agree with you. Once the mountains are there, it kind of throws everything out the window. Your game plan you have is just as you go automatically to DEFCON 5. It's like, all right, mountain zone, we know exactly where we need to go.
Yeah, this time though, it's not going to be a big presidential threat on every single trio in the lobby. They'll have a lot of room to play, a lot of chances to get information too. Kiriachi with his high base can identify all the different threats around him and sense that Kylie with these beamings on trees is looking for vantage points as well. What a nice shot too, that big UFO looming in the distance.
Yeah, the mothership. Oh yeah, I was just in awe right here, the rotation, the warp rotation that we saw here from Savage. Savage is literally on the other side of Kirachi. And Savage just came,
they move fast.
They move fast.
And think about it this way too. Kirachi started here, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Savage is all the way in Steamy. And he has a better spot in this zone. But that might be also Sancho, right? Because Kirachi fought this game. They've never done that before. They kind of got into positions they haven't been in any game of the finals so far. And they might be a little bit off center with better loot.
That's interesting. We'll see how that kind of results. And last time they were just being consistent, playing for positioning, but now they decided to fight. I think they're feeling the pressure of the lobby. They understand that they need to get eliminations as well, so it could be that thing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference for Kiriachi's team right now, they were first for like the last 3-4 games. This is the first game they're operating in second place. Bink, after that big clutch, they've taken over.
And maybe they kind of poked the bear. I mean, Saban may take that personal and just try to go into these sludgy swamps. So they got to be careful here. You may get those 6 points there, but is those 6 points worth it for the long run? Because again, you have teams like Stompy putting on a show, and hey, Aqua's still there. Even though they were in shambles at the other end game, Aqua got some valuable eliminations, put us a couple points on the board, and got some great placements for his team.
Running back this time too. This is the most concerning thing for me. Seti, Kemi, Teak, historically one of the most consistent trios of the region, struggling with Surge once again.
Wow.
In terms of landing somewhere mid-map, kind of a little bit on an off vibe or off center in terms of getting positioning in this zone. They're always ahead is what I'm trying to say, and it just seems like they've been a step behind this entire finals. Looking to actually equalize though. They're pushing back. I think he's also suffering from Surge. So they need to land a pump before he gets taken out. 100 above now, it's enough for the moment. You'll watch that number go down so fast. 73 teams still in the lobby. This kind of feels like a 5th zone right now, but it's only the 3rd.
Yeah, it's been happening the entire time, but pitchers are definitely, more, pitchers describe 1,000 words, and this is what I'm saying. This is what's happening to them. Every time their rotation, they're surrounded by people who need Surge. So they get pushed and they're always on the defense. It's a two-sided coin for them, and it's not a good coin. Either they need Surge or they're surrounded by players that do need it, and they get pushed and aggro. So that's what's been costing them their run, and you're right here. That is why they're not doing well as expected.
They're always caught in some type of Surge black hole. So we'll have to try to get toward a different side of the galaxy, different side of...
Yes, I agree. Now expert right now, oh man.
This is tough.
Rough.
Yeah, this man's completely in outer space. That's just rough. But the good thing is, Benji is the one to get that loot with Shadow and Joe. Very good pickup from Shadow there to actually know exactly where the solo is going to be trying to rotate, trying to escape. Andy Chashi, they were kind of in that situation before that we just saw expert in. A rabbit just running in a forest. Anyone could really just pick that up. This time they're looking really good. South side of the base, as soon as I say that, they both get taken out and knocked. Never mind.
Hey, it happens that fast here. But just to talk about Benji, Joe, and Shadow real quickly, they're making dead side rotations. That's what they're doing in day 1, and that's what I mean. They're primed to make a decent run here in day 2. Their dead side rotations were on point, and they were always at the end game. Now they're going to push their way closer to center. There they are on your bottom mini map. There are those blue triangles right on the edge of this here. But let's go back to Sapphic Patrick and default here. I thought they'd be able to move. This is something that's been happening in EU. They just go to the edge and stop. And they took the time and maybe get a little bit more center. Look how free center is. If they could just keep moving and not stopping on the edge of the storm line.
I mean, the issue is in Weeping Woods, this forest, it's really hard to navigate. Lots of space. It's not that traversable. Low ground's kind of really weird. And so many people are set up on hills or trees or vantage points you can't even see. So as a result, Sapphic trying to deal with stuff in front of him. He gets pumped in the back while trying to rotate. This is just tough. Even with Peppers, I mean, I guess they're saving it for a different zone. It's cost them a lot right now, and no one can really push all the way towards the center. All the people who are coming from the outside in, they're stuck on zone line. The only people at the center of the zone right now are the people who started there.
This is it. It's about a minute until zone closes here. And where zone 5 goes, that's going to be huge considering Logjam has been in this entire time. So, you know, Kirachi has been vibing, and he did get some good Storm Surge to initially onset his hold there. The question is, will he have the beams as well? You've seen Jackie come out from Caddy Corner, their head in position. You see Fasroki there, who's been all over looking for Storm Surge, only down to a duo. Now you have Cammy setting Teak now, and better pastures on their own tarp. And look, no neighboring people. So when it gets to that 50-man surge, I think they're going to be a lot better onset. But the question is, we already saw them on the borderline. They need to get tags right here. They need to be aggressive and open up those edits and make sure they get those beams.
Yeah, the win condition right now for Steady Cammy's just staying above surge. They survive. They can play so well all the way towards the end. They're always consistent. It should be below when the update comes in. They need to land a few shots here or there. Sancho, absolutely correct. The other big thing too with this zone, I mean, it'll happen in about 2 once we start moving, but so many teams, you mentioned it, like Kiriachis, have been sitting still. Even City Cammy teams, they haven't moved around that much. Everyone has so many mats, and with trees kind of separating low ground and high ground, you can see it the whole way through. If this zone goes straight into the forest, there should be so many different fights for height. Kiriachi has so many mats left. Savage has barely even used any. All these bases have just been sat in the entire time. Everyone is waiting to be the king of this lobby.
Every time we drone over to Aqua, this Tayson is always at their feet. This is always happening, and they're always jockeying for position. You have Nebs right there as well, kind of trying to assess you with those metal ramps. And of course, you have Kirachi, who's been on the high ground this entire moments here when we're moving into the end game. But Deal Aqua and Noah Riley are in 3rd place right now, really consistent.
Yeah, and you can see the battle between 2 big bases. Who's the high speed? Wow, mistake from Vidil, but he has that medkit, he has the minis to get back. It's this trio and Kiriachis in the distance that have the highest bases at the same elevation.
Vidil has Fireflies, and you know he's going to be ready to use that to take that high if he needs to.
Yeah, he gets at the force.
Oh no!
But there's a trio here. Splash actually jumps up. Where was Aqua? What happened? The Aqua's on the backside. Noah Riley distracted. The entire trio gets just completely fractured.
It was all of a sudden a flank from the backside there from Mawaka and Splash and Co. And they were able to take away this high ground advantage, but it doesn't matter. Zone 5 goes south here. But right now, our 3rd place team is in shambles, and they were already below surge here. And this might be it. The swan song is over for them temporarily, but Splash and Mawaka and Koro put a huge wrench in those plans here. But all this structure here has to move and rotate, and they have to go down south, and that just means Kirachi has the advantage, but also Nebs as well, as you see, are now going to rotate around. I like what Benji, Joe, and Shadow are doing. Last time at this moment, they were cranking up to height, or like ramping up to height, but electing right now to stay on the ground, which Benji has a lot of experience being a low ground fighter.
Benji Logan is a very, very fun thing to watch. Nebs, Pink, and Stompy is honestly, though, the highlight of the day. They're not even at
highlight of the year.
That's actually up for contention. There have been some crazy plays, but that one was nuts. No mountain for them to climb, though. They're going to actually have to just stay on top of the entire server. First place is where Big Nebs and Stompy are. Kiriachi in 2nd. First on low, 2nd all the way on height, and 3rd we just saw fall. So it'll be a battle of 2 Titan trios looking to take that lead.
I spy with my little eye that Kirachi structure only be held not that strong. It's like about 4 boxes there that are holding it. It's all made out of brick. So if someone wants to chop it, they can.
I mean, we've seen the pattern so far at endgames. No one should be staying on their first base from the 5th zone. They always launch off. They go all the way to where the zone's moving. I think Kiriachi's learned that by now. So unless they want to stay there and lose height, we will see in just a little bit.
Here we go. Here it's about to get to first moving, and it goes back up north.
Up north, and Hen, Janice Chapix. Looks like Hen might take a lot of damage, maybe be knocked, picked back up. But Splash is really putting on the pressure.
Now everybody's got to move out here, and all those people that had the advantage or high ground are going to have to rotate out here. In about 10 seconds, the Storm is about to push everyone out of this area completely. Nebs, Pink, and Stompy now have 3 eliminations, so even though if they go down, they're about to cross into the placement threshold, and it could be one of those matches that you need if you're holding on to first place. Just don't go down at this point here. Try to get to the top 10, and this will be definitely a W of a game. One of those moral victories here as it go for Pad.
Kiriachi all the way on height. Nebs flies right by. This is the perspective of your first place team holding onto the lead. Still, long game to be played. Kiriachi moving all the way across. They've given up that base completely. Actually, they've expanded it and connected it. Shadow's going all the way towards the top, and Jada actually flies by. Joe is in control at the cost of Benji Fishy's shield. Kiriachi has to give things up. I mean, it's no different than what we've been seeing before, but they actually go all the way to second height, not battling with Hen. Things are getting crazy, kind of claustrophobic for every single team. Not enough builds either. This high ground is just extended the whole way through. They're still fighting for it. Kiriachi does not want to let down.
There's not a lot of air up here. It's getting thin because there's so many trios up here taking up all the oxygen, and Joe, Benji, and Shadow here are breathing the finest Pierce air at the moment. But look at Queasy, Trilix, and Jerky getting in position.
That is a very sneaky plan. They go for the launch pad too. Nebs, Pink, Stompy, so smart. They're letting all these trios fight. Have at it. Go for height. We'll play the placement. We'll wait for the game to come to us.
There it is, Jerky. There you talk about the position, but Kiriachi responds, and storming right to Kiriachi, who've been waiting, holding on to height, send beams out Queasy way and push him off the pedestal that is this height right now. Kiriachi, Tucson storming right here with some great games, 3 eliminations. Look at this high pad there. Trulix, oh my goodness, we take to the skies, and now we go back to height again, but Trulix is still up there. He's getting beamed. Can he find his connections? No, he doesn't, but someone else is coming up. Here it is. Jerky's coming back again.
This pinch is absolutely astronomical in the skies. It's Trulix with a distraction. Kiriachi finally goes down. Queasy was not done. He kept track of his teammates. Now it's 2v2. Too Stormy right. Too slow on HP. No shields. Drop down below. Stormy alone all the way next to the clouds. Can he survive? He's going to be taken down a little bit. Looks like Jerky also goes. Benji's in his box. Benji deleted. Tack shots. They also not enough to actually keep Toos alive. Trulix and Queasy will have it, but it's only 2 players to control high ground.
It looks like Shadow's gonna have to go solo. Hen, who's been a solo for a very long time, is still on his feet, and Alex Vino getting some eliminations in the feed. Hottie, Elocrest, and Tripper, who had a great day 1, could take height, and they are looking for it right now with the chop right there against Trulix. Deceptos is here on the other side.
The 5th height retake. We're watching this game.
There it is.
And Tripper, Elocrest, and Hottie get it for free. Hen, no way, gets bopped by Savage on low ground. He has his home too, so he has the entire control of the low ground hemisphere. Shadow's trying to work it too. There's a little bit of a split from Shadow and his teammates. It's Savage as a solo in Weeping Woods. You've seen this before, but not this bad. 34 HP. He might not have enough to tank and deal the damage.
He might have enough there with the chug cannon just to do a little bit more. All he has to do is just to continue to keep on ticking, keep on rocking, and hold out that wall. Going down to 1 build left here. Savage coming into this fight. He's doing so well. 7th place, slowly sliding out of the top 5 here. But this could be the moment here. Tayson gets eliminated by Splash and Moaka, who've been a nuisance all this day. Savage here is on the low ground. Pump out. No builds. Looking for those E-limbs. Doing his best, but no, gets beamed from high, but Reason is still on this fight at the very end of the day, but it is Hottie, Tripper, and Elo Crash with the 6 eliminations and the victory royale. Man, hey, we remember we were seeing this trio come to form last season, and now what a great time to get a victory royale. It looks like everybody from that northeast side of the map is racking up VRs.
Yeah, 4th place overall rolls in on a 5th height retake that happened in that game. It was crazy. Kiriachi put up a very good fight, but that should shake up the boards a little bit, at least from 2nd all the way down to 10th. Very close game overall, and a nice textbook win from, you know, the God Squad.
Hey, it's what happens when you do a turn play in a tournament and it works for you. Everything's going to work for you here on out. Nice VR. We're going to go ahead and take it to Zeke, Levin, and Reese to break it all down.
Thank you guys so much. Game number 7 on the day, but before happening today specifically, my goodness, my words are about as jumbled as this last game was. Tripper and Elocrest, Hottie's 6 eliminations and the VR. But you know, guys, there was so much more happening. Andretta sitting on 6 eliminations by himself there, and then Reason getting to make it into the top 3. Once again, the victory royale is going to be super pivotal for these teams trying to claw their way back in a top 10, even top 5, right? But there's still all these other trios where you might not see exactly what they're doing, but they're operating in the shadows, right? They're trying to get these eliminations. They're trying to be consistent with that placement, and right now it's working for them.
Yeah, and I think, the big thing I think with Hoyt and Current Shipping is that yesterday, Reese, we were talking about how if there was going to be a day they would do good, it would have been yesterday, right? Like everything was setting up so perfectly. Finally, they're having that good performance we sort of talked about them potentially having.
Yeah, and that's really fantastic for them, right? We saw almost that game number 1 that they had the strategies down with the turret to blast them out of the sky, which looked super good. They were 7th off the top of my head on day number 1 overall. So from then so far, they are continuing that through. I think they're going to move up big time with that victory royale that they had there, because like I said, they've been super consistent throughout the games today as well. They had a 9th, 10th, and now the 1st as well. So they've been looking super, super strong so far, and they're definitely a contender for the first place at this moment.
Yeah, I'd love to kind of talk about the team doing well in second place that started specifically today, okay? That's the Symptos' trio. They are looking pretty good right now, friends.
Yeah, they're looking really good. You can see they've actually got the most points today now, right? So they've now overtaken. So they're Floki commit to, so you can see them on this west side of Misty. Yesterday, they were getting bullied by Andalex's team over here, but this is kind of the stuff that they have to deal with in the early game, right? Notice that Queasy has landed up on the Guardian Tower near where they're dropping, right? Which leaves Floki Clement and Symptos with barely any materials really that they can work with in terms of chest, sorry, because they only get 11 in that west side. So for them, they have to find out a path to get some form of loot, right? So you see them trying to rotate up to the north, and this is what they got to deal with. Queasy understands that they're going to take this rotate. He goes for the Storm Surge tags on them, and they're getting obliterated. This is already 50 of their shield gone at that moment too. But not only that, Art Skill goes with some absolute laser eyes from this distance, takes another 50 damage as they're rotating at the same time, and Andalex and X-Tweez are all focusing on them as they make this rotate. So given the circumstances that this team is currently in, that Floki, Clement, and Deceptos are in their early game, only having 11 chests, the fact that they have gained the most points today in the 3 games is absolutely outstanding, in all honesty, and that has pushed them up into 7th when they were somewhere in the 10th till 20th range at the end of day number 1.
Yeah, actually, man, when you frame it like that and you see all the teams they're having to deal with, it is insane. But look, you can see Pink, Nebs, and Stompy sitting in first place with a 5-point lead, which isn't much, but it's a lead nonetheless. Hottie, Ella, and Trippin with that victory royale are now sitting in second as well. And Rescott and Jara and Mr. Savage, we saw win a couple games ago in third, but it's still very fine margins towards the top. Still not much in it, and with Vino tasting a reason, seeming to be in a bit of form now. Hendrix and Chapik still kicking it. A lot of the top contenders are finally starting to find a bit of a rhythm now, Reese.
Yeah, and definitely, you already mentioned Vino's team as well. Like that's the big one, right? Where they were 13th. They were struggling really badly with Storm Surge yesterday in that first game, and then in the other ones, they just really weren't able to capitalize on the rest of them, right? They weren't able to get the big point games that they're known for. But now, the last 2 games, a 6th and then a 3rd, and the one before that, they were 10th as well. So the points that they've gained today have almost been more than they managed to obtain yesterday overall. Still with tons of games left remaining, which is crazy from them. Hen's still in it, Kiriachi's still in it, Refscar's still in it. Obviously, Hottie's team is doing super well alongside Pink as well. But if we move over to the next page, we're going to see those teams who now are going to have to speed up a little bit. City Kamitik being one of them.
Yeah, and as you can see, right, there are some teams here on this page who, you would expect maybe to be a bit higher. I think when you look at last game in particular, Benji, Shadow, Joe, those guys, there was a stage where they took height. It seems like they're falling victim, right, of, one of the many teams who look to try and take height, but just isn't able to hold it well enough when it counts. And so they're struggling there. Queasy, Trudix, and Juriki probably feel the same, right? They've had their stretches in that period, but generally, things are starting to shape up how maybe you would have expected, right? A lot of the top dogs really getting involved, and it's making this finish a lot more interesting.
There's all these trios, man. I'm telling you, everyone has their eyes set on first place, and I like to see that. Now, remember, we have another 5 games to play. So a lot of these teams, as now they're warm, we're going to see some very big changes happen in these next several games. But there it is. You heard the battle bus, which means we got to jump back into game. Shy with your Sancho West. Let's do this one more time.
Thank you so much, Zeke. It is game 8, and we're getting the battle bus ready. And wow, Hottie, Elocrest, and Tripper, they're talking about a new name on the scene that's been developing. This is not a surprise to me. Is it a surprise to you, Shia, that they were able to rack up a victory royale here in this final stage?
I think it was inevitable. I didn't expect it this kind of early. I thought it'd be kind of later, but they've been trying for it, every single day, from walls to, this point now, getting that win, upsetting height. It finally happened.